And no one believed you could speak with my sister. Everyone thought you were crazy.
Hello people, this is the Black Love Gamer, and this is my first impressions of Unearthing Mars 2, The Ancient War, developed by Light Studio and published by Skywalker HK. Currently it's on sale in the Steam store for $9.99, retail price is $19.99. Okay, I'm coming into this game as an individual who did not play the first one. Therefore, everything is fresh for me, and as soon as the game started, I see that they're making references to the first one. So, take that with, if you're somebody that wants to play it for the story,
you ready?
Maybe playing the first one would be helpful, even though throughout the levels themselves, they weren't really talking a lot about previous things. It seems like a lot of it in the beginning was, but I only played through about 4 chapters so far. So if there's any more references later on, then then that will be that. I'm doing this over. Or you know what? I'm gonna just cut that out. But either way, on to the game. You're the protagonist, and you're a protagonist that jumps into another protagonist through some type of fragment thing that was being worked on.
Welcome.
So
It's been a while.
what ends up happening is you're reliving the memories of this commando guy, this deputy commander by the name of White Gunner, and you're just going through the mission as him. And as soon as I jumped into the game, it reminded me of Doom VFR as far as how the gun was angled weirdly. But the thing with Doom VFR, I was able to correct it through the settings menu. The settings menu with Unearthing Mars 2, it was almost shouldn't even be considered a settings menu. You got video, like the video was just for like subtitles. It was bare bones. You couldn't really do anything. There was nothing for like controls. And I was just stuck using a gun, but it felt as if I had like a wand or a dagger in my hand and was shooting people that way. Like, yay, dagger, fire. So you do jump into the action as soon as the game starts. It uses it uses teleportation, but it's for fixed points, similar to Arctica 1 if you played that, either using the Rift or using Revive in order to play it. That's another story-driven shooter. So you teleport to the fixed points. Certain fixed points, which are yellow, when you teleport, everything slows down, everything becomes cinematic, and the weak points on the enemies will pop up, and you'll be able to shoot them, in a decent manner. You're like, spin around in place, and then the enemy just, they fall. But you don't always have to use the yellow teleportation points just to do that. You also on your controller, there's a button that you press, and you do it for it's a shorter time, so it's like a few seconds, and it's not something that you can just spam. So it's like you use it, you have to wait a little bit, then you can use it again. It's an interesting mechanic because while playing the game, I'm used to using cover, but you don't really use cover like that with the game. So you have this little thing that comes out and blocks for you but it can only take a certain amount of hits before it no longer will be able to block any incoming bullets. You can dodge them. At first it seemed like I couldn't, because it was like, all right, I know I moved all the way out the way and I still was hit. So it could have just been me not moving away enough. Maybe I have a giant hitbox. I don't know. But yeah, you're just going through the levels. Some places it did seem like you had a choice, but as soon as I picked somewhere where I wasn't supposed to go, it turned me around and said, no, you can't go that way, and turns me around. And I'm like, well, what was the point? What was the point of sending me somewhere where I couldn't go? Like, this game is already short. It only took me like 45, 50 minutes to get to the fourth chapter. One of the chapters is actually a boss battle. And I'm like, wow, this, so we got me going fake areas. Either way. So you're utilizing the slowdown mechanic, the block, in place of actually using cover. Now, another thing about this game, when you're fighting the enemies, certain areas, if it's like a slim hallway setting or something like that, they don't give you any extra teleportation options. So you have to stand in place, dodge, use slow down, and block in order to take the enemy out and live long enough to move on to the next area. But when you do get to areas that are a little bit more open, I did notice that they did at least give me some points to go throughout the level and fight the enemy. Now, as far as fighting an enemy, the enemy is this, they come out, they shoot. Some, depending on the color that they are, can take more damage than others. Some actually do have different shooting mechanics. And that part was interesting. When I got to about the third chapter, they do switch it up, and it's funny, because as far as the shooting with the enemies is concerned, it feels like it should be boring, but it's not. I don't know what it is, because it's like, all right, I'm fighting the same people. But I think what it is just the whole slowdown thing, and then sometimes they break it up where you use the yellow teleportation point, and then you're doing all this cinematic shooting and things like that. So I think with the little mixing it up, and then actually being like, all right, well, I'm not using cover, I have to use the block. I think that's what made it a little bit more engaging with the gunplay, even though I don't think the gunplay is solid. For one, it doesn't, it takes away when you're shooting at someone and it doesn't feel like you're shooting at someone. I think if I had the aim controller, I think I would have had a way better time, shooting, taking the enemies on in that capacity. So, yeah, so that's basically what it is. You do have some interesting, like that boss battle. I did like it. I did. I'm not gonna front. I only did one boss battle so far, but it was interesting. It wasn't hard to do, but it was engaging. I think I did end up using. I think I failed once on it, and before you get to that boss battle was a lot of matter of fact, the other couple of levels, towards like the middle and end, they do change it up a little bit, even though I'm like, this should be boring. Now, as far as if you should buy it, from what I see, this game, you do your run through, and it's about 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. So at $9.99, I don't. As far as the first one, I'm guessing if you like the first one, because from what I keep hearing, the second one is better than the first. If the first one had a story and you're trying to figure out what happens, and while this sale is going on, you want to spend $9.99 on it, hey, then why not? I guess get it. But for me, this doesn't make me want to play the first one. I have come across titles where you're playing the sequel to the game, but the sequel makes you want to play the first one, and it doesn't make me want to play the first one. At the very least, it just makes me want to be like, well, let me see if there's any other cool, scenarios in the game where it's a real decent boss battle, or just a real decent section of the game where you're taking on bad guys or whatever. That's about all that, I would want to, do with it. And like I said, that's just going to be for one go around. So $9.99.
Martians have the ability to improve their reflexes by using their
I suppose so. It's kind of hard, because the beginning part of it made me think that it was like a really, really deep game until I actually started playing it. But I don't know. This is kind of hard. I'm actually recording this right after playing, so it's like it's a toss up. I don't think $9.99 is too bad, but I would not pay $19.99 for it. Okay, that's about it. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is the Black Love Gamer, and I'm out.